So finishing off your assessment, I believe you have what it is called lumbar radiculopathy. So let me go into a little detail of what that means exactly. So here I have a picture of your spinal column. These big bones here, these are called your vertebrae. These lines that come out in between, these are called your spinal nerves. So what happens in lumbar radiculopathy is that one of these spinal nerves ends up becoming irritated. So when that nerve becomes irritated, it ends up sending signals down the nerve and it leads to the pain that you feel around your lower back. People with lumbar radiculopathy do really well. They end up feeling better within 1 to 2 months. And so I highly recommend you visit physical therapy 3 times a week for the next 8 weeks. And during that time period, we can help give you techniques on how to properly squat and lift heavy objects that you have to do for your job. And we can also give you some stretches to do at work or at home to help alleviate any symptoms that you may be feeling. You mentioned that you were 35 and being really young to start having back pain. Whenever you have a job that requires you to sit for long periods of time, like being a truck driver, the fact of you having to sit for that long period of time is irritating the nerve. And also the need of having to squat and lift heavy objects, that also irritates your nerve. And squatting irritates it because even though you might not know it or feel it, when you squat incorrectly, you might end up using more of your back muscles instead of your stronger, bigger leg muscles. And so while at physical therapy, we're going to be helping you with adjusting your technique. That way, next time you go back to work, you end up making sure that you use your stronger, bigger leg muscles instead of your back muscles to prevent from further injury. Also, symptoms are likely to come back, but it's important to adjust how you perform your work duties, again, like the squatting and the lifting, and for you to also gain some flexibility, like in your hips, because of sitting for long periods of time. That way, we can help decrease the chances of the symptoms coming back. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, great. Now I'll be going over your activities to do at home. And I realized you said you're a visual learner, and so I want you to sit there and I want you to observe how I do the exercises, and I want you to take these back and I want you to be able to perform them at home. So the first one being a stretch for your lower back. So I want you to imagine my knees as your feet, and I want you to stand about a foot away from the table, and then I want you to reach over to the edge of the table like this. And before we do anything, I want you to realize that all of your body weight is over your feet right now. When you're ready, I want you to gradually lean forward with your hips and gradually put your weight along your hands. As you lean forward, you should start feeling a stretch along this lower part of your back. If you feel the need, you can also lean a little bit closer. You could move your feet closer to the table and stretch. This should not be painful, and I want you to hold this stretch for 30 seconds, and then I want you to rest, and I want you to do this stretch 3 times. Okay? Now for the second activity, I want you to stretch your hips. Because you're sitting in your truck for long hours, your hip muscles here in the front tend to become tight. And when I did the tests earlier in your assessment, your right hip ended up being a lot tighter. And so this stretch is going to be meant for your right hip. What I want you to do is I want you to bring your left leg forward like this and keep your right leg back. And then I want you to bring your left leg a bit forward. And when you're ready, I want you to lean forward and start to feel the stretch along the front part of your leg. I want you to hold it for 30 seconds and then relax. And then I want you to do it again. I want you to lean forward. And then once you feel the stretch in the front of the hip, I want you to hold it there for 30 seconds. And I want you to do this exercise 3 times. One more time, just like that. Okay? I have this paper for you to take home, and it has the pictures of your exercises so that you can refer back to it to be able to do it. Do you have any questions for me? As far as your blood pressure, that was a concern that I noticed, and so I just wanted to let you know that I will be contacting a doctor so we can follow up with that. That way, as we continue physical therapy, that blood pressure concern is something we can take care of and make sure everything is okay. All right? If you don't have any more questions, we can take you to the front office and we can have you scheduled for 3 physical therapy visits a week for the next 8 weeks. All right. Thank you.